Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM. We're glad you all could be with us. Also, just tuning in through WYADonline.com, as well as through our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Well, as we are recognizing this year's Earth Day, of course, we have to think about the impact all of us can make. Our next guest definitely has not only been able to do work that he enjoys, but also to make a difference along the way. We're excited to welcome to our program today Teague Egan. He's not only the CEO of Energy X, a sustainable energy company, but someone who's very passionate about the imprint that he's leaving on the world and how all of us can be more mindful of the impact we're having on the world around us as well. If you guys are just now finding out about Energy X, we'll let you know where you can find out more information. But Teague, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Cyrus.
So it was interesting when I was prepping for this segment with you, Teague. I was thinking about not only how you're very passionate about the work that you're doing. It's definitely coming out in what you've been able to do with Energy X, but also I think realizing your own personal responsibilities. I wanted to ask you, what has that been like for you to have two things working together? Not only work that you love, but also being able to see the difference you're making.
Yeah, I mean, I think being able to work on something that's a passion of mine is really special. And something that's renewable energy focused and saving the planet. You know, I'm definitely a climate change activist, and look at kind of the work that I'm doing as something that's really effective in saving the planet. You know, we focus on lithium extraction, which is something that is important for batteries and EVs, and eliminating fossil fuels, and that's something that, you know, I take pride in doing every day.
Right. So where does this all begin for you? And I love the fact that you use the word activism there, Teague. I mean, but because I think for our audience out there, it really shows that you can be able to make a difference doing something that you are passionate about. When did that kind of begin for you, that you wanted to make an impact?
So it's a pretty crazy story, actually. I've been an electric vehicle owner since 2013, which is pretty early in the Tesla days. And, you know, I've always cared about climate change, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to get an electric vehicle. But I had never really thought about where the battery comes from in an electric vehicle. And it's you know, typically not something that really crosses your mind, like where the actual maybe fuel comes from in an internal combustion car. But I was traveling down in Bolivia, of all places, and they have this place in Bolivia. It's the largest salt flat in the entire world. It's called Salar de Uyuni. And while I was on this tour, our tour guide starts telling us about how this is the world's largest lithium reserve. And that's when I started to think about, wow, this is where all of the lithium comes from that makes the batteries that not only powers electric vehicles, but the iPhone I'm talking on, probably the computer you're using. And I thought about what I wanted to focus on in my career and where I wanted to spend my energy. And I thought that being part of this renewable energy transition is where I wanted to focus my energy. And so I started to look at how lithium was produced and, you know, realize that there were better ways to do it. And that's kind of where I started my journey in kind of a really small segment of the supply chain that goes into building batteries and electric vehicles. But, you know, we look at sustainability in two ways, right? One is the way that lithium is made, like the mining practices, and then one is like how it's used, right? So you can think about the exploration or the production of fossil fuels, like it's a pretty dirty practice bringing stuff out of the earth, and then how it's used after it's brought out of the earth. And for fossil fuels, it's just burned, right? So it's kind of negative in two ways, right? For lithium and battery materials, you know, you have to bring it out of the earth, and we're focusing on making that practice more sustainable. But then when it's used in a renewable energy circular ecosystem, that's a lot more environmentally friendly. So we've run some numbers, and for every single ton of lithium that's utilized in electric vehicles, and you can make about 40 electric vehicles with 1 ton of lithium, that displaces 150,000 tons of CO2 for every single ton of lithium that's utilized in electric vehicles.
Wow. Well, and that brings up another point then here, Teague, because I think part of what you just shared there, and it's fascinating, I think, have you found, well, let me ask the question this way, have you found that part of building your business and doing your work with renewable energy has been really informing people and educating people as to the impact they are making and can make?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the good thing about the business that we're in right now is that there's a lot of momentum, right? A lot of people are starting to care about this. And the thing about climate change and the renewable energy transition is you can't see it happening right in front of you. Like, it's almost the same thing when you think about aging, right? Like, when you look in the mirror every day, you don't see yourself getting older on a day-to-day basis, but it's something that is affected over a long period of time, right? And that's the same thing with climate change. Like, these trends that are happening, like, we can look back 10 or 20 years and say, wow, the climate is actually, significantly warmer, and that's causing some of these natural disasters and things like that. So we certainly have a lot of momentum in our favor. And, because of that, it's been a much easier conversation with people, right? Like, I barely ever get any no's when I explain kind of what we're working on and the importance of that. And I think that, Tesla and Elon Musk has really done a lot to drive that conversation as well from a business perspective. We have a lot of politicians that are implementing regulations around that to say, like, not only what our carbon goals should be by 2040 or 2050 with the Paris Climate Agreement, but on a more granular level, like outlawing gas power, internal combustion cars by a certain year, saying manufacturers won't allow the sales in our state, or saying that we need to have solar roofs. All new roofing will be solar by a certain year. Like, so there's really a lot of momentum behind the conversation.
And I think that momentum is so important as we're kind of looking at where we are on this Earth Day. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, he's on the radio side or online and listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Teague Egan to our program today. Teague is talking with us not only about his work as CEO of EnergyX, but also what it's been like for him to work with renewable energy technology to be able to raise awareness, but also to do work that he's passionate about as well. Social media has played a role in you helping to spread the word, Teague. So talk to us about that. Did you know going in that platform, especially I think more so now in the past year, but did you know going in that platform of social media was going to be important for you to help amplify your voice?
Yeah, so I'm a millennial. I'm 32 years old, and social media has just been awesome for what we're doing. And I think that being able to utilize social media in effective ways is certainly important. For instance, we did a Tesla giveaway with Logan Paul over Christmas last year, and we gave away 2 Teslas for free, and Logan Paul, who is a top social media influencer, posted this on his Instagram, and we got millions of views and a lot of awareness around the company and what we're working towards. Things like that also go to driving the conversation around climate change, et cetera. So we did that. I look at a company like Tesla again, right? When you think about you're watching TV, how many car commercials you see, even on an hourly basis. Basically every commercial is about the new Toyota, the new Jeep, the new whatever. Tesla hasn't done a single car commercial in the history of their company on TV, yet they have the most successful car sales of any car company because they are a new age company that knows how to use social media. I take the same kind of example of that and apply it to our own companies, thinking about creative strategies like the Tesla giveaway with Logan Paul I just told you about. So social media has been super important, and figuring out creative ways to utilize that has really driven a lot of opportunities for the company.
Yeah. So moving forward then, I mean, what are you looking forward to then, Teague, as you kind of look at the work that you're doing? What is it that our audience should be on the lookout for?
So, we are an interesting company because we're kind of a B2B company, right? We sell our technologies to the biggest lithium producers. But I think the general awareness around what we're creating is important. And, we have a pretty cool, informative website. It's energyx.com. We have a lot of interactive things on our website that, if you're just interested in electric vehicles and batteries in general, our website is pretty cool to kind of poke around on. And we have a lot of interactive things on there that people can go and kind of learn about what we're doing and how it affects them on a day-to-day basis. I think that's important, right? Like, you think about, you always think about me, like, how does this affect me? And I think that that educational aspect on our website is pretty good. And we're also just at EnergyX on Instagram. We have a cool Instagram. So those are kind of ways that people can learn about the company.
Yeah. And last thing I want to say, Teague, and I'm curious to see your thoughts about this, by your doing what you do and doing it the way that you've done it, you are leading by example. So you're not just telling us, like in conversations like this, you actually are doing it and showing people. How does it feel to be an example to other people as to what they can do?
It feels really good. I get emails and messages every day saying that I inspire people, and it honestly, it didn't happen overnight. Like at the beginning of this journey, I was one guy standing in the middle of this salt flat in the middle of Bolivia with an idea, right? And at that point, I wasn't inspiring anybody, and it took a lot of hard work and effort, sleepless nights, 100-hour work weeks to get to the point that I am. But it's more about the journey, right? Like those people telling me that I'm an inspiration now is kind of like, it always feels good to get a pat on the back, but like I look back and say, I haven't achieved anything yet, right? There's just so much more in front of me that I'm trying to help change the world. And I think that, that it comes from internal motivation, right? So it's really just the hard work and enjoying the journey, right? And your first question was about like being able to do what I love. Like you have to have that passion for what you're working on. That's kind of how I look at that.
Yeah, and that's true. And I think as long as you have that passion, it really does not feel like work, even though you are putting in the hours and you are doing all that you're doing. I think I can totally attest to that. That I mean, you look forward to it. You look forward to the opportunity to do work that you love, that you know is going to impact others. Again, everyone, Teague Egan has been our guest. Great conversation with you, Teague. How can our audience again, if you don't mind, please share that website with our audience again, please.
Yeah, it's just energyx.com. Pretty straightforward. And I'm at Teague Egan on Instagram, and it's at EnergyX on Instagram as well. And I answer all my DMs. I answer all the EnergyX DMs, and we're just hello at energyx.com if you have any questions.
Awesome. Congratulations to you again, Teague. Really appreciate this, and looking forward to our next chat together.
Cool. Thanks, Cyrus. Anytime.
All right, then, and we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.